Hello, just trying to finalize my setup. Hello, good evening everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you're having a great day or you had a great day. Just finalizing my setup before I start. Thank you so much guys. Please as you join us, let us know where you're joining from so that we can we just have all in the right place. I'm just finalizing my setup. Let me see how I look down here. Okay, okay, perfect. All right, just finalizing everything before I go. Good. So tonight, as we go live with this session, I'm trying to conclude the sessions here, what we've been doing for the past days. We've been talking about frameworks that leads to success, frameworks that guides our lives and things like that. And I wanted to round it off tonight. So tonight is more like the capstone live. I just call it capstone live, right? You know, when you go to school, you do a capstone project. So today is going to kind of bring all the frameworks together. And what I want to talk about today is become, build, and keep. Please let us know where you're joining us from as you join us so that we can give a shout out to you also. So tonight I want to talk about become, build, and keep. Let me start by saying something that might feel uncomfortable for those that are watching live and those that will watch the recording later. If you used to a channel, you know by now that we do say stuff like this. Most people are not where they are today or right now because they haven't heard great messages. No, that's not it. Most people are not where they are right now because they haven't heard great messages. No. They are where they are because they've heard great messages, but they never turn them into a system. So it's one thing to hear a great message, it's another thing to turn that great message into a system, right, that will work for you. So, hello, thank you so much, Fanik. Oh, so I didn't get your name very well, but yeah, thanks for joining from Winnipeg. I appreciate that. Okay, so most people are where they are not because they've not heard great messages. They've heard great messages, but the problem is that they've not turned it into a system. They know what to do. Like if you've been listening to my channel, you hear me say that most of the time. Most people, they know what to do. They've taken notes. They've been inspired for sure. They've even prayed, but they haven't changed yet. I talk to a lot of people and I hear what they get to say. They've listened to great messages, they've taken notes, they've gone to seminars, and they've done all they need to do, but they haven't changed yet. They've even prayed. That's a big one. They've even prayed. Now, I look at this thing, it's not because they're lazy. To be frank, it's not because they're lazy. No. And it's not because they are incapable. Those two are not there. But because nothing in their life is connected. That's another one. Nothing in their life is connected. Now, let's look at this. You have pieces of truth, moments of motivation, bursts of effort, but there's no structure. I talked about structure a couple of times in most of the videos in our channel. There's no structure, right? You see someone go to church and he prays and have all the good prayer times and all this fun stuff. But at the end of the day, he has no structure. Even if God blesses him, the blessing becomes a burden. The blessing typically becomes a burden. But tonight, I want to give you something different. This is no hype. This is not another emotional moment. No. And this is not something you want to try. I want to give you a path. I've been thinking about this since we started this framework. I've been thinking about this. Let's try to bring everything together and something that we can work out with. When people finally change, it's not because they felt more motivated. I said that yesterday. When people finally change, it's not because they felt more motivated, it's because their life finally made sense in order. I said if you remember, or if you get the order right, things become easy. If you get the order wrong, for sure things get out of order and the dominoes will fall. And everything we talked about in our last live, we did talk about in the first live we had, I think sometime back in the week, we talked about be, do, have. Then we talked about capacity, increase, stewardship. And yesterday we talked about clarity, commitment, consistency. These are not separate ideas. No, they're not separate ideas. They are one system. Because I got a question today from someone that watched the video, and he was asking me questions and he was breaking them out separately. So I had to tell him that no, these are not separate ideas. These are one system. If you understand it, it is a system put together. So that's one of the reasons why I started to say, okay, you know what? Let me do this live tonight and kind of explain this. If they're online, great. If they're not online, I'll direct them to go watch it later on. Tonight I'm going to show you how this fits together, step by step. So that change, now, change is not random. Change is not random. I want to make sure that that is clear. And from tonight's discussion, we will see that. So let's start. What's the core problem? Let me say this plainly. Most people don't fail because they choose the wrong goals. Most people don't fail because they choose the wrong goals. They fail because they approach the right goals out of order. This is the beginning of the year. You hear people talking about goal setting, goal setting, goal setting. You turn to any channel, you see it. You turn into church, you see it. But most people don't fail because they choose the wrong goals. They fail because they approach the right goal in the wrong order. They try to do before they become. They try to increase before they're ready. They try to stay consistent without clarity. So life feels heavy. It's a tug. It's a tug of war. You're fighting with life. Life is fighting with you. So it's a whole heavy tug of war. Progress feels unstable. I did talk about wavy progress the other day in one of the videos. You're up today, you're down tomorrow. You're up today, you're down tomorrow because you don't have a system. So it's a case of shooting darts in the dark. If you get bullseye, you're happy. If you don't get bullseye, you keep on trying. And eventually, when progress feels unstable, eventually people blame themselves. You see people, they get into this self-sabotage. I'm not good enough, things like that. But the issue was never effort. The issue was never effort. It was sequence. You approached the right goal in the wrong order. So the problem was not effort. It's not as if you didn't try enough. You did try enough. The issue was sequence. So tonight we're going to rebuild that thinking. Not by adding more. We're not adding anything. We just need to put the right things in the right order. That's exactly why I'm just doing this live. Because I thought about the question that someone asked me, and I felt that he might not be the only person in that bucket that is asking that question. Right. Now, let's try to create a master framework. So, this is the system we're going to build tonight: become, build, and keep. Become, build, and keep. This is what real transformation looks like. You become the person first. Okay, the first bucket is you become the person. Then you build through aligned actions. Then you keep what you gained through stewardship. Everything else is noise. Everything else is noise. Become, build, and keep. Now let's walk this slowly, step by step, with real life examples. You can see yourself in. You can even see for yourself. Let's start where all real change begins. Clarity. Clarity. Clarity is not knowing everything. We did mention that yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah. Clarity is knowing what matters now. What do I need now? Not what I need by June, not what I need by December, not what I need in 5 years' time. Today, in this January, what do I need now? What actually matters now for me? All right. Most people are overwhelmed because they're trying to change their health, their finances, their faith, their relationships, their career, all at the same time. They're trying to change everything at the same time, all of it at the same time. And I did say yesterday that when everything matters, nothing moves. When everything matters, nothing moves. Why? There is no priority. There is no priority. When everything matters to you, nothing moves. It's like a dog with 5 heads, and every head wants to lead the dog somewhere. The dog is going to remain in one spot because nothing is going to move. No, it's not going anywhere. That's how people are when you have different things you're looking at the same time. No clarity. You're everywhere. Your health, your finance, your job, your faith, your relationship, everything. You want to do them all at the same time. Ain't going to work for nobody. Clarity is the courage to say, this season is for this. So January, I'm going to do A, B, C. D to Z, relax. For now, this is what I'm focused on. This is what I'm going to do. That's what clarity is. And clarity is not saying D to Z, I'm not going to do that. No, it's saying that there is another time for that. Right now, what is important to me based on priority is A, B, C. Let's try to relate it with everyday example. Someone says, I want to improve my finances. We've heard this so many times. Somebody say, oh, I want to improve my finance. I want to improve my money. I want to improve my finance. But that's not clarity. That's a vague statement. That's what I call wishful thinking. Clarity sounds like, I want financial peace, right? Not just more money. Not just more money. I want financial peace. That's what clarity sounds like. That one sentence changes behavior. But the person that says, I want to improve my finances, is vague. But the guy that comes out and says, I want financial peace, not just money, is going to be thinking outside money. He'll be thinking about finance as a whole. And if he wants to make changes, he's going to start with his behavior. Now ask yourself this, if you're on this live, And if you're going to be watching this video later on my channel, ask yourself this: which one area in your life needs focus for the next 30 days in your life? Which one? Not two, not three. Which one area in your life needs focus for the next 30 days? Will it be your faith, or your health, or money, or career, or relationship? One area. So for the next 30 days, I'm going to focus on this area. That's clarity. That's clarity. Don't answer it. Don't put it in the live. Don't put it in the comments. I just asked you for your own good. Which one area? Look within. Which one area needs that focus right there? So let's look at the next step. We talked about B. B, E, B. Now that clarity has chosen the direction, so clarity has chosen the area. Let's say clarity has chosen faith. We now move to identity. This is where B, do, have begins. The first framework we talked about 4 nights ago. Be, do, have. This is where it begins. You do not change your life by chasing outcomes. No. You change your life by changing who you are practicing being. Better English will be who you are becoming. So if I want to be a better person, I change my life by practicing being better than I am today. That is becoming. So ask this question: who must I become for this area of my life to work? Who must I become for this area of my life to work? Not what must I do. Not what must I do. Who must I be for this area of my life to work? Let's look at this example I wrote down. Someone says, I want to lose weight. Someone says, I want to lose weight. But that is somebody talking. Now, this is identity talking. Identity says, I am someone who takes care of my body. All right? Someone says, I want to lose weight. Identity says, I am someone who takes care of my body. Someone says, I want stability. Identity says, I am responsible and disciplined. So you see, identity is more of behavioral change, not like outcomes. You're not chasing outcomes. If you change your behavior, that is the being. If you change your behavior, the outcome will follow naturally. You don't have to go for the outcome. It will come by itself. It's like sugar and ants. You pour sugar on the floor, ants will come naturally just to feast on it. Now, this is where change begins, or where change becomes sustainable. Change becomes sustainable here. If we take the idea of the person that says, I want to lose weight, and the person that says, I am someone who takes care of my body, the person that says, I want to lose weight, he goes to the gym, he registers because this is January, right? He rushes there, buys new jerseys, new shoes, puts them online, shows it to everybody, open a social media page. He goes to the gym. In the next 2 weeks, he's gassed out. He starts thinking, who sent me? He starts rolling on the bed. He starts arguing with himself. Why am I going there? But if the other guy that says, I am someone who takes care of my body, going to the gym becomes natural to him. It comes easy. He doesn't have to force it. It comes so simple to him. It's second nature now. because he sees the gym as what? As an activity that must happen for him to take care of his body. But the other guy sees the gym as the outcome. So he has not become yet. He has not become yet. He's trying to get half. Trying to get to the half. He has not become yet. All right. And I did mention here, which is very important, that change, sustainable change, begins when you shift your identity, when you shift things, when you start saying things like, oh, this is not about the outcome. This is about a behavior. It's about a behavior. There was a time I watched I can't remember which sport, which football tournament that Japanese went to and they lost. But they did lose, and at the end of the match, they were cleaning the stadium. They were picking up litters on the floor, picking up papers, nylons from the floor, cleaning up the stadium. And somebody asked them, why are they doing that? They said, that's who they are. They don't litter their open space. This is natural. It comes natural to them. Nobody forced them to do it. Now, I've always said this on this channel. You don't rise to the level of your goals. So even this year, so tonight I'm talking to you right now, and whenever you're going to watch this recording, even this year, if you write down 50 goals or 10 goals or 2 goals or just 1 goal, you will not rise to the level of the goal. You will fall to the level of your identity. So if your goal is here, your identity is here, this is where you're going to be, not here. Because actually, you've not actually identified yourself. You've not become yet. No matter what you do to bridge this gap, if you're not trying to become, it will fall back. Any little change in momentum will just move you back. Yesterday we talked about commitment, right? Now, this is where most people avoid. I did a video. So if you go to my YouTube channel, it is called Commit to Your Commitment. Commit to your commitment. It's not tautology or what you call repetition in English. No. You have made a commitment. You commit to it to see it go through. Commitment is where clarity stops being an idea. Clarity stops being an idea. It becomes a decision. Commitment is where clarity stops being an idea. Clarity becomes a decision. Commitment removes negotiation. Most people don't fail because they don't care. They fail because they keep their options open. Yesterday I talked about you being on a corridor, on a long corridor with an exit sign. What the exit sign is giving you on that corridor is, oh, if it doesn't work here, if I can't get to the end, I will exit at this point. But when commitment comes in, commitment is saying, I'm going to the end. The first thing commitment takes off is that exit sign. I don't want to see it. I am starting from here. The other point of exit is the end of this tunnel. So there is no option, no alternative. It is yes or yes. Have you ever worked with a boss that uses that phrase? I have a boss that does that. He asks you a question, how am I going to do this math? And it's like, yes or yes, right? That's how he thinks. He doesn't have yes or no. It's yes or yes for him at every point in time. So that's what commitment is. Commitment removes negotiation. Most people don't fail because they don't care. I said they fail because they keep their options open. So that guys, you're doing something, you're thinking, if it doesn't work, I will run this way. So you have what we call option B. Most people that wins, they talk about option A and A. If option one doesn't work, do it again. Refine your option and do it again, but don't change, right? You hear people say, "I'll try to work out. I'll try to work out." There's no date. There's no commitment. I'll try. When? I'll see how I feel. I'll see how I feel. Okay? I'll start when life slows down. No commitment. No commitment. That's being comfortable. Well, that's comfort talking. Commitment says things like this. This is what I do, regardless of how I feel. That's what commitment says. This is what I do, regardless of how I feel. Regardless of what is going on right now, regardless of how I feel, regardless of the prevailing circumstances, this is what I do. This is who I am. I don't dilly-dally. I don't, this is me. That's what commitment says. Every commitment must include time, place, rule. If somebody say, "I'll try," what does that tell you? That's infinity. When? The question is when. Right? When? Somebody say, "I'll look into it." When? I'll come back to you. When? There's no commitment. These are things we live with, that we just run away with in our everyday life. There's no commitment. Example, every weekday at 7 a.m., I'll walk for 20 minutes. That is commitment. Every weekday at 7 a.m., I'll walk for 20 minutes. There's no debate. There's no emotion. There's no negotiation. If you keep to something like that, that is finite, that is time bound, time based, you see that if you start doing it, you start building self-trust. Self-trust. Now let's talk about the other step, which is do. The doing part, the verb. Now we move into action. But no dramatic action here. Not exhausting action. No. Aligned action. Doing must be small enough to repeat. All right? Boring enough to sustain. Simple enough to finish. I take that again. Doing must be small enough to repeat. Boring enough to sustain. Simple enough to finish. They do say that if you want to eat the elephant, you have to start from a small piece, right? If you open your mouth wide, you want to eat the elephant, the whole elephant, you just can't. You won't be able to eat it. Doing has to be in sizable chunks, in piecemeals. And the good thing about that is, if you do it in piecemeals, you can repeat it. It becomes repeatable. And you can actually follow through. You can see through. So if you have a very big plan, a very big goal, you want to be Elon Musk. Let's say that's your dream, to be the next Elon Musk. You're going to start from conquering your small world, taking care of things small by little, before you get to the point where you're like, okay, I am now global. Right? You have to start from somewhere. And it has to be something that you can actually repeat. You call it repeatable. Most of the time, if you're in IT like I am, we call it rinse and repeat. So I say, is this process rinse and repeatable? I'm talking to people, is this R&R? Can we do that? All right? People don't fail because the task is hard. No. They fail because the task is too big to repeat. That's what I said. People don't fail because the task is hard. They fail because it's too big. Instead of saying, I'm going to change my whole life, instead of saying, I'm going to change my whole life, start with, I'll read for 10 minutes. That's doable, that's sustainable. I'll read for 10 minutes. Instead of saying, I'm going to change my whole life now. No, 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 no. Start with, okay, I'll read for just 10 minutes. You close the book, go and come back, you take it for another 10 minutes. Before you do that 10 times, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. You've read hours because you started in chunks that are small, that are repeatable, that you can do, right? Start with saving. You hear a lot of people talk about saving, saving, saving. The other day we were talking about that, and I asked the person that was talking, I said, how will people start saving? He said, let them save. I said, no. You don't say let them save. Tell them to start with small chunk. Okay, start with $10. Save $10. It is not about the amount, it's about the culture. They are trying to build a culture. So if you tell them to start saving $100 or $200, they might not have the money. But let them save $10. Let them save $5. If they can do that monthly, they are trying to build a culture. You see, doing is all about something that you can repeat. Small actions. Or I'm going to walk 20 minutes every day. I'm going to walk 20 minutes every day. That is small. It's repeatable. Not that I'm going to walk around my estate to get fit. No, it's not going to work. That's just too ambiguous. That's why a lot of people don't even follow through, because the plans, the actions, what they are trying to do is too big. Small actions every day. This is how identity becomes real. Now let's look at consistency. People mistake consistency for intensity. Consistency for intensity. No, they're not the same. Consistency is repetition without drama. It's repetition without drama. You can do this, it's repeatable. You're going to do it again and again and again and again without any drama. That's consistency. I'm going to read this book for 10 minutes. I've gauged myself. I'm going to read this book for only 10 minutes. If I'm able to read it, 10 minutes, I close it up. Go do what I got to do. I come back again in 10 minutes. I'm able to read it. I've built a repeatable, or something that's like a rinse and repeat. Now consistency now becomes, I'm able to come back and read. Go, come back and read. That's what consistency is. Most people quit not because it's hard. I've said that before, but because it's boring. It's boring. And if you've listened to my channel enough, you know that I always say boring is great when you're building character. Boring is great when you're building character. All right? And boring is where transformation lives. Boring is where transformation lives. You see a lot of people getting so excited over everything, as if you are an atom that's been exposed to heat. No. Boring is where, if you're able to do boring stuff over and over again, consistently, in small chunks, you'll be shocked at the result. Every time you say you do something and you don't, you lose self-trust. I did touch on that. Every time you say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. Now look at that. There is no time. There is no rule. There is no place. So once you say that and you don't do it, you lose self-trust. But when you say, I'm going to go to the gym on Monday by 10 p.m., you've actually built a time-bound scenario where your mind, every system in your body start working towards that time. Oh, it's 9 p.m. I have 1 more hour. Even if you want to sleep, your mind is telling you have said you're going to go to the gym. Right? If you don't do it, you lose self-trust. Consistency helps you rebuild it though. So if you're the type that is already, you don't trust yourself anymore, don't worry about it. You're in a very good place. I swear to God, you're in a very good place. If you build consistency into your life, into your routine, you'll be shocked. It will help you rebuild self-trust. Now, this is not perfection. In this channel, I don't talk about perfection because I always say that it's, most of the time it's an illusion. People that are trying to strive for perfection, that's an illusion. Just do what you can do. Do what you can do, just repeatedly. Now, if you can do this for 30 days, what you would have built is character. What you would have built is real character. Because 30 days is long enough to build momentum. Before you know it, you just see yourself doing it with ease. Step number 6, capacity. Now we move into, this capacity is more like the third, it's part of the, is it the second framework or the third framework I talked about? Capacity is your ability to hold weight without breaking. Weight of responsibility, weight of pressure, weight of success. Most people want increase. We've always said that people go to church to pray. I'm a Christian. So before you say, no, I'm a Christian, I go to church and I pray. But you go to church to pray and there is no structure to hold the blessing. It will crumble on you. The blessing becomes a curse. Or it becomes a curse. Most people want increase, but they haven't built the container. The container is capacity. The container is where the increase will be housed. People say, if I had more money, I'll be fine. Have you heard that? If I had more money, I'll be fine. But money doesn't fix habits. It exposes habits. We said that yesterday. Capacity is built by emotional regulation, boundaries, discipline, responsibility without applause, things you do without people noticing you. You build a spending pattern. It is your money. It is yours. Nobody applauds you for that. But what you are building is actually capacity. Life does not withhold blessings. I've said that it withholds what will crush you. So if you like, sometimes people say, pray, shout, jump up, hit yourself on the ground. God will answer you and stuff like that. God will not do all that stuff because you don't have what it takes to hold it. Increase. When identity is aligned, actions are consistent, capacity is growing, increase shows up quietly. Like I did say, if the end result, the outcome is what you're chasing, you're going to make a big mistake. You will not get it. But if you become, that outcome will chase you. That outcome will chase you because it's a byproduct of becoming. That's what we just talked about here in my notes. When identity is aligned, actions are consistent, capacity is growing, increase shows up quietly. Not always as money though, sometimes as peace, as clarity, as opportunity, as trust, as confidence. Increase is not chased, it's attracted. Increase is attracted. Increase doesn't change you, it reveals you. That's why capacity must come first before increase. You need to grow up the container first before the increase comes. We talked about stewardship. This is where most people lose everything. So now you're blessed. Now you have everything. Stewardship is not ownership. Stewardship is management. Stewardship is management. Whatever you gain, whatever you're blessed with must be managed. Whatever you're blessed with must be managed. It must be maintained. Money needs a system. Health needs a routine. Faith needs a rhythm. Relationship needs attention. What you don't manage, you lose. So simple. Let's look at an example like I wrote down. I'm just trying to break down examples based on these factors. Now, let's say I want, this is financial stability. Clarity says, I want peace, not panic. Right? I want peace, not panic. So, clarity, that's what clarity says. I want peace, not panic. Now, B said, okay, for that to happen, I am responsible with money. Because when I have money in reserves, panic is out of the window. Peace comes in, not panic. Commitment says, I will track my spending nightly, like every day. What I spend, I'll track it weekly. Now, and these days, there are apps that help you do all of this stuff, all this tracking and all that. Doing says, I'll save $25 or $50 from every paycheck. That is you building peace, not panic, right? So that's doing. Consistency says, all right, every 30 days, I'll save $50. Capacity says, I'll reduce impulse spending. Walmart is selling close to $0 televisions. I don't need a TV. Why should I buy a TV? Or Costco is selling everything on credit. And so what? Impulse spending. You must go out on Saturday. Why? That's capacity. Increase says, whatever you save grows. So savings grow. Savings grow. That's increase. Stewardship say, budget becomes habit. So I need to budget more. I need to know how I'm spending my money. This system will work everywhere, every time. Now let me leave you with this. You need a system you can live inside. Clarity chooses the direction. Being shapes identity. Commitment locks it in. Doing starts the movement. Consistency builds trust. Capacity prepares the container. Increase arrives. Stewardship makes it last. This is how people change. Quietly, slowly, permanently. So tonight, don't ask, what do I want next? Instead, ask, what step am I finally willing to take and stay with? That answer will change everything. Thank you so much, friends, for your time. Thank you for sticking by, for those that stuck by. Thank you for being part of this, our channel. Please let us know if you have any questions so that we can answer them as we go ahead with this. I'll be starting another series of live very soon. So yeah, be on the lookout so that we can start it together. Thank you so much and do have a great day. Bye for now. This is Matt Miller signing out. Peace.